so pleased to have at the table Miriam Reeder and lots of goodies. And I can't wait to talk about this. You own a bakery, Taste by Spellbound.
Yes.
In Avon.
Yep.
Tell me how you started baking. You were a little kid, 11 years old.
Yep. I started baking when I was a child and started my first business called Miriam's Creative Cakes. Used to make cakes for my friends' graduations and birthday parties, and granted they probably weren't the best, but it happened.
But you were working it. This was in New Mexico, correct?
Yes, I grew up in New Mexico. And I
look
look
back.
back.
What's the first thing you made? Do you remember?
I believe I made my first birthday cake, not my first birthday cake, but my first birthday cake was for me, and it was a gumball machine. All from cake mixes and yeah.
So you were already creative.
Yeah.
You wanted to make it not just your 9x13 pan. You
Correct.
went with a gumball thing.
Yeah.
Who in your family were bakers?
My mom was. She was much more a baker and a cook, not just a baker, but she put me in the kitchen all the time, so I grew up around that kind of stuff.
When did it become a passion? You're 11, you're making gumball cakes, it goes on. When did you decide?
Well, I moved from New Mexico to Oregon to Connecticut, and it was a big transition time in my life. During that time, I stopped baking, and when I moved to Connecticut for my 2010 New Year's resolution, I started baking again. And I started taking everything into work, giving it to the coworkers, and they were like, you have a gift, you need to look into this. And I was like, no, this is just a hobby. They're like, no, you really should look into this. And from there, I was like, well, maybe when I'm like 40 years old, I'll open up a bakery or
Why did
go
they
to
say you had a
school.
gift? What was it about?
Because not to toot my own horn.
No, you
but
should.
I guess,
go ahead.
But I guess most people, at an age of 17, 18, don't really have that creativity when it comes to the kitchen. I mean, you're seeing it much more now because of the culture coming up, but the things that I would make were just much more than just like your boxed cake mix or your boxed brownie mix. So,
at some point, somebody said, your truffles are amazing. Tell me that story.
So I sent my stuff to Elvis Duran in the morning show at Z100 in New York when I was 19.
Just because?
On a whim. Literally just on a whim.
So you're confident at this point at 19
Yeah.
that my baked goods are really good. So you
Yep.
send him
So
truffles.
I sent him the red velvet truffle.
All right.
At this time, it was literally just like a box of like truffles like piled on top of each other. I didn't know how it was going to get there. I don't know what
if
it
it would
looked like.
melt.
Yeah, zero idea. I got a call 3 days later from one of the guys on the show. He was like, Elvis loves your stuff. He wants to talk about it. Is that okay? And I was like, yes, please talk about it. So he talked about it, got a ton of hits that morning.
On what? On Facebook or
Facebook.
What year is this?
My website. I had a website
Okay.
because I was doing hair accessories on the side.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So with that, I put my red velvet truffle on my website.
This one right here. Did
Yes.
it look just like this?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to put that
Yep.
out there.
My friends and family around the U.S. were like, well, we want to taste it. So I was like, well, this is an easy way. Go onto the website. If you want to order it, you can. And so it was readily available to everybody, but I literally got like maybe 5 orders within a whole year. And so...
And you were expecting hundreds. We're just going to rack up because you had some publicity?
Well, you mean from Elvis?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we started getting orders right then and there. It wasn't ridiculously crazy, but yeah, we got, I think, like 1,000 hits on the website.
Now, did that scare you? How can I fill these orders?
Yes, for sure. It was chaos for the first, 3 weeks. We got everything underway. We got it all figured out. And I mean, he has a listenership of all over the country. And one of his big listenerships is in Florida. So I was like, how are we going to send chocolate to 90-degree Miami weather? And we, logistically, we figured it out really fast. We put our brains together like, we got to figure this out.
And who's we? Who's helping
My
you?
family. Yeah, they stepped up to the plate to help me do this whole thing.
So did you dry ice it to Florida? What did
Ice
you
packs.
do?
Lots of ice packs from Uline.
All right, so
Yeah.
that worked.
Yep. And then I got invited on to the show a month later. And from that, they put me on air for 8 minutes at 8 in the morning, and my website went viral. I got 23,000 hits on my website. We shipped out 12,000 truffles in 10 weeks. I quit my job and started doing that full time.
Now, how soon do you set up an actual bricks and mortar bakery and take off? Right after this truffle thing happened?
I did it out of my house for a year. But I knew that in order for me to grow the business, I had to get some type of commercial space. I couldn't just keep doing it out of my family's kitchen. So a year later, literally like exactly a year later, I opened the first shop. And I've been there for 3 years now.
How does that feel? You're only 23, correct?
Yeah.
How does that feel to own a successful
It's rewarding,
business?
but it's a lot of hard work. And I think a lot of people forget the work and the passion and the life that I pour into this. They see the, you know, the pretty things and the gumballs and the chocolate, but it takes a lot of guts and a lot of blood to see stuff like this through.
Give me an idea of your work day. What time do you get up all the way till the end of your day?
Kind of depends on what we're doing. Like last week we did Hartford Hospital Nurse Week. With that, I was getting up like at 5 o'clock every day. I would go to bed at like 11, 12 at night. So it kind of depends on the projects that we have going on. But normally I would say I get up around like 6 in the morning. And then it just depends on how crazy it is. Sometimes I'll go to bed at like 10. So right now it's not insanity, but during those specific projects that we're working on, yes, I'll get like 3 hours of sleep a night.
How did you get your staff and how did you trust them to do exactly what it is you want them to do?
I have had a few people walk in and just give me their resume, and I just interviewed them and felt good about it. And then I also pull from Lincoln Culinary. So they'll come in as externs. If everything goes well, then we hire them on as employees.
All right, fast forward from the truffles. You get the bakery get going.
Yep.
What is this magnificent
This is
cake?
our carrot cake. This is called Tjs Carrot Cake. He was one of the co-hosts of the Elvis Duran Morning Show. He now has his own show in Boston on AMP 103. And he claimed to be like this big carrot cake connoisseur. And I was like, well, I can beat whoever you think is better. And so I brought it to him one day and he was like, that is the best carrot cake.
What makes it better?
Just everything about it. You're
there's-
going to have to taste it.
I know, this caramel, after the show is over,
Yes.
trust me, this is going to be devoured. But it looks like there's some caramel on it.
Yep, there's caramel, there's cream cheese frosting, and everything that we do at the bakery is made purely from scratch. A lot of bakeries these days, they say it's, you know, it's baked fresh, it's homemade, but a lot of it's still that big commercial cake mix. It's that big tub frosting. Everything we do, we're doing with real butter, real cream cheese, eggs, milk, sugar, flour. And that's what really sets us apart from our competition, is really having real pure products for the customer.
Where does your confidence come from?
Oh man, from birth? I don't know. I guess it's just been instilled in me and just kind of the way I've grown up.
And how is it that you get a bricks and mortar, and so this is all family help with you, where you're like, we're going to do this, you're going to be successful, and here we go?
Yeah, I mean, my family has definitely pushed and helped me be successful. My mom is a huge person to help make that happen. She's basically like my cheerleader on the sideline, saying like, you can do this, you can do this. And she was the one who was there morning and night and has seen me cry and weep over the craziest things. But my family has definitely been there to help me.
Worst moment so far in setting up a business?
Oh,
Did you
my
think you were going to
good-
fail?
Oh.
Because you're making money.
I still feel that way. You know, I mean, yeah, I have been there 3 years, and big news, we're opening up our second shop.
Where?
In South Windsor at Shops at Evergreen Walk.
Okay, so you're 23.
Yeah.
You now have a second shop. Things
Coming.
Are you going to franchise this someday?
I really don't want to franchise. I want more shops, yes, but my business is called Taste by Spellbound for a reason. The word taste, I never want to lose that. And a lot of times people are there like, you know, money talks, and when that comes to you, you're going to say, oh, well, you know, I'd rather make that however many millions. But seeing the customers come in and taste our product for the first time and seeing the joy on their face and the expression, I never want to lose that. And I know that if I franchise, our quality is just going to plummet. And I would much...
You get it, Miriam, you get it.
And a lot of people don't get that when it comes to the industry. It's just, how can I make money? And I realize, yes, you have to make a living. You have to make a living for your employees as well. But I don't ever want to lose why I started this business. And if that means 5 shops over 20 shops, then so be it. At least I know what I'm putting out is changing lives instead of just how can I mass market this product.
What's the end goal? Do you have any idea?
I have many dreams. It scares me. I pretty much kind of want to build an empire. I want...
World domination.
Pretty much.
Well, part of this, and we're going to get
Yeah.
back to some of this food
Yeah.
in a second, but you want to combine food, fashion, interior design.
Yes.
On your website,
Yep.
we have 6 pictures that we're going to show.
Okay.
Kind of indicate all of that.
Yes.
Fashion, food, interior design. So
Correct.
let's take a look at that.
Okay.
And tell me about this. What does this mean when I see this on your website?
So Tjs by Spellbound, when we went to launch the brand, we said, what can we do to set this brand apart? And I sat down with my photographer, Adrian Broom, who's absolutely incredible.
He is?
It's a woman, actually.
Yeah, it's a woman, actually, yes.
And she was like, Spellbound, that's very fairy tale. What can we do from that? So we were like, Alice in Wonderland, let's do something to merge that. And from there, it kind of just started spiraling out of control. We just shot Goldilocks and the Three Bears, so each shop that I open will be a different fairy tale.
Same name?
Yes, same
Okay.
name, but different theme. So the shop in Avon is Alice in Wonderland. Second one in South Windsor is going to be Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Third one, crossing fingers, I hope will be Hansel and Gretel. And from there, it'll just be all different themes. And this way, it's creating a place for people to actually go and visit and say, yeah, I hit that fairy tale, or when I was here, I got to visit that fairy tale.
So
it's a
children
great
are gonna
destination.
love this.
Yeah.
You're working with a great photographer. I know her.
She's incredible.
And she
Oh, you
gets-
know Adrian?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I do. And she
Awesome.
gets your sensitivity. I
Oh,
can see
yes,
that.
very
Let's go to
much.
the next picture.
So this picture coming up is the Three Bears. You see the three different sizes of beds, and that is a box of truffles sitting on my lap.
Which made you famous so far.
Yeah.
And then we have,
That is Alice in Wonderland. That is her walking through. You can see the little sign that says, "Eat me." And that is our truffle cake. You'll see our truffle. It's three different levels of all different truffles stacked on top of each other. That's also Alice in Wonderland.
these are brilliant.
Thank you.
So different.
That is basically, I mean, that was at our Alice in Wonderland photo shoot, but it's a take on truffle hunting. That's why there's a pig in my lap. So you know how in Europe the pigs
Sniff out
hunt
the
for
truffles. Yep.
Yes.
And I think there's one more.
That is also Goldilocks. That is when she broke the baby bear's chair.
Now, so many dreams.
Yeah.
Food, fashion, interior design.
I would love to have, you know, an apron line, a clothing line, a whatever line I can have, a ceramics line, anything.
Are you working on that, or is this just a dream so far?
I'm starting to work on that. I've learned over the past 3 years things happen when they're supposed to, and if I take on too much at one time, I'm going to kill myself.
You're
So,
actually much older than your age. You've been told that, right?
yeah. I feel like I've lived like 9 lives by
And
now.
maybe you have already.
Possibly.
All right, let's continue on with the goodies.
Yes.
French macaroons.
Yes.
You make them?
We do make them.
How did you figure out how to do that? Because I know that's very difficult.
I took a class from a woman from New York City. She came up to Connecticut and held a class, and from there, it was pretty much trial and error in the bakery. We made quite a few batches that looked like crap. Can I say that on later?
You just did. That's good. That's fine. They just didn't work. for you.
Yes, they were pretty bad. But we've been doing them for 2 years now, and we've pretty much mastered them. We have people that come in and they're like, oh, well, I've had them in Paris, and I've had them in, you know, Europe, and, you know, kind of the snob, and then they come back and they're like, those beat France.
Which makes you feel great. And
Yeah.
I've seen them in France too.
Yep.
And then this I saw today.
Yes.
The cruffins.
The cruffin.
What is that?
So this is a hybrid of a croissant and muffin. It has all the different layers of a croissant, but it also has kind of that texture of almost like a bread roll. So it kind of like merges into this delicious creation.
It's beautiful.
And then we do different flavors, but this one has salted caramel in the middle and a caramel buttercream and then popcorn, because I feel like popcorn makes everything better.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Dreams as far as food, do you go to sleep thinking, I think I'm going to make this because nobody does it that way?
To a certain extent, yes. We're always trying to be imaginative and think of what we can do as far as flavoring. So when it comes to our menu, we actually make up our menu every single morning. A lot of places they'll be like, on Tuesday you're getting these flavors, on Wednesday you're getting these flavors. But this way it kind of keeps our customers guessing and always coming back for something different instead of it always being the same thing over and over and over. And
Let's talk about the cupcakes, because the frosting color in the front is gorgeous.
Thank you.
What is that?
So that is an organic strawberry and lavender cupcake. I personally love florals. I like eating florals. So anything with lavender, I eat. We just introduced violet as well, which you see violet in Europe a lot, but you don't see it in America a lot. So we just introduced that a couple weeks ago. We have a caramel toffee cinnamon. We have a cocoa raspberry abyss, our chocolate on chocolate, and then just a plain Jane vanilla and chocolate. And that has a chocolate center with our vanilla buttercream.
It's just amazing.
Thank you.
Proudest moment so far? And I know you've got lots of stuff in the works, but proudest moment so far? The fact that you've even made it and opening up a second store?
Yeah, I would have to say signing that lease and going, wow, like this is happening. That was definitely a big moment for me.
You gonna put anything on the shoreline of the state? Say yes.
I would love to. I really don't know what's going to happen next because this second shop, I mean, I knew that I would open multiple shops or another shop, but I didn't ever know it would be at this location because one of my big goals is to have a shop in New York City. So my goal after the Avon shop was to move down to the Fairfield County and then move into New York, but then I actually moved the opposite way, went up towards closer to Boston.
Life happens.
So
right?
at this point, I'm like, you know what? Whatever life presents me, I'm gonna walk through, and everything has just fell into place for this shop to happen.
Well, Miriam Reeder, we are so glad that you moved from New Mexico to Connecticut. It's our game, and it's Taste by Spellbound, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you for having me. You're the
welcome.
sweetest.
When one listen, who is this girl? Spend all night kissing and the bump right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing to find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store of my mind. Just to save time, skip right ahead to the last ride. The harder we look, the less we can see. Don't you know that you need me?